and he had incredible visions and ideas. And for many, many years, he had this idea to start here in Albagnano a place for people in the dying process and to help them to die in a peaceful way, also from a spiritual point of view. And especially also when he was sick by himself during the COVID time, he was at a hospital, and one of his last wishes he expressed at that moment was that he said, I really like to make this wish, to start a project here in Albagnano for the dying people. And he gave it a name, Karuna. Karuna means compassion in action. And so this is why we are here. So this is, I think, the most important to connect with him. And I like to do a prayer just to connect also with Lamaganchen. And I think for everyone, you can do your making own connection with the one who inspired you. And for people here, it's obviously for our master, Lamaganchen Rinpoche. Loto champo pagyuta shipa tu centem petrin leianoda pelgedro lot sampetse pacen padella meheshala sovade Oma Guru Vajradhara Sumati Muni Shasane Karma Utavadanye Shri Bhadra Varsamanaya Sarva Siddhi Hung Hung Oma Guru Vajradhara Sumati Muni Shasane Karma Utavadanye Shri Bhadra Varsamanaya Sarva Siddhi Hung Hung Oma Guru Vajradhara Sumati Muni Shasane Karma Utavadanye Shri Bhadra Varsamanaya Sarva Siddhi Hung Hung Pakyo Kye Kudan Dagilu Pakyo Kye Sundan Dagina Pakyo Kye Tudan Denyer me chitu jingilo Makyo Kye Kudan Dagilu Makyo Kye Sundan Dagina Makyo Kye Tudan Dagi Denyer me chitu jingilo. Grazie. So the first why we're here, this is because Lama Ganchen requested to start this Karuna Project, and also he requested this to me to be of help in this process. And I like to share just a little bit of my background, because some people know me quite well, very well, but some people don't know my background. And also here I'm also standing as the medical project coordinator for the Karuna Project, so I thought it's good to express a little bit also my medical background in it, because I did my medical training in the Netherlands. I'm a family doctor. And just before I started my specialization, I met Lama Garnchen in 2005. And I'm really, really grateful for meeting him in that moment, because I just finished my basic doctor degree. And I started with my specialization. And family doctor in Holland, it's a 3-year specialization. And I was happy to follow this path of becoming a doctor, but I was at the same time reluctant, because after 6 years of training in the medical field, I felt some things were missing. The spiritual part, psychological part, social part, really taking care. So I spoke with Lama Garnchen about this many times, how to approach. And during this 3-year training of mine, he often asked me, what is lacking? What do you think is missing? And this was a beautiful question he put me many times. And out of that, I could open my own perspective and try to see, what could we add? Not that things are wrong, but that we can add extra. So I want to share with you one story of mine that started actually for me the whole palliative care, let's say, adventure. Because I can say it's an adventure. And this is a story that happened to me just when I finished my specialization as a family doctor. My father passed away just a few years for that, so it was quite an intense time. And I was not so much into the death process, as you can imagine. And at that moment, I was supposed to take over one clinic. A colleague of mine, he was going for sabbatical to Africa. And so on the day before he left, I said, are there some patients that you have to explain some more about what I'm going to face? And then he said, yes, actually, the former family doctor of this clinic, he's still living in this village. He is about to die, and he has a euthanasia wish. And yeah, that's all. Good luck. I was completely in shock, because euthanasia is quite a thing. And I never did it before. And to get to that point in a process of someone that's already dying. So I thought, where can I step out of this commitment, no? But then I talked with Lama Garnchen and I said, look, I'm facing this strong difficulty, what to do? And then he said, no problem, you talk. Okay, you talk. And so we talked, and we had beautiful talks, because in the beginning, he was the elder family doctor, and I was just fresh from my education. And so I was shy and insecure. And then I expressed it to him. I said, what is my knowledge, and how can I be of help for you in such difficult times? And then he said, the openness that you share with me gives me so much trust. So we step in this process and we just see where it will lead to. And he was in the beginning very, very tough about his wish about euthanasia, because he said, I saw so many people dying and I saw the suffering of it. And for me, we would say in Italian, basta. I will take the drink of poison at my chosen point and then finished. But as we were talking about how he perceived his life, what he was happy about, how he went through his difficulties, it started to create for him dreams. And he said, I don't know what's happening, but I have in the night, I have insights, I have beautiful dreams. And then after some weeks he said, I'm rethinking about this concept of euthanasia, also based on the questions that you asked me. And then finally, after he had just 2 months to live. He called me, and then one day he said, I decided to die in a natural way, and please be at my side. The family was there, I was there, and he died very peacefully in such a beautiful surrounding. And it was incredible. And just in this moment that he was dying, he said, I didn't want to share with you, but besides my training as a family doctor, I was trained as a palliative care specialist. And he said, you have to promise me one thing. Please get further specialization in this direction, because you really have something with this subject. So I was touched. But I also was touched because just few years before my father passed away, I was completely not into this process of dying, no? But I shared with Lama Garchen because he gave me many advices, no? And I remember the moment that I could speak about him, about this, what happened was in his monastery in Tibet. And we were standing on the rooftop of his monastery. And then there was a spare moment because Lama Garchen was always so busy, no? And I said, Lama, I have to share with you what happened with this doctor and the advices that you gave and what happened. And then he looked at me, he laughed, and I said, wonderful, 1,000 more to come. And I was in shock, 1,000 more to come. Then I said to my husband, to Rogier, did you hear the same? And Rogier said, yes. So then I thought, I have to get really into this subject. So the doctor mentioned to me, Lama Garchen mentioned to me. So out of that, these were the steps that followed out of this. So I did a higher training in palliative care in the university in Amsterdam. And then I got into hospice care for some years. I was in the board of a hospital in Holland, and each week we had a meeting with all the doctors, and each week we talked about the patients that were inside of the hospital who were dying, how to take care of them, what would be the best place, either to die in hospital or to go to hospice or to go to home. So every week we were sitting together also with a chaplain, a psychologist, doctors, me as a family doctor to cover that part. So as social workers, so for 5 years I did that work. Then I'm still involved with a project that is quite famous also in Holland. It's called PATS, and that's a project that we sit together with the nurses and the doctors together each 2 months, and then we talk about the patients who are dying inside of the family clinic line. And sitting together with nurses and doctors to talk about it created so much exchange, and it helped the patient, but you could also say maybe even more it helped us as caregivers to understand each other also better in this process. And when Lama Garchen mentioned at his last moments of life to start this Karuna Project, I knew, okay, this is the moment that I have to come to Albagnano, to start also to live here and to be part of here, to continue with his wishes. Together with my husband, Rogier, we're figuring out how to do. But we're in the middle of the process. So I finished also based on a request of Lama Garchen, finished Tibetan medicine training together with Astrid and Chinese medicine. And now I'm working as a family doctor in Switzerland 2 days a week at Sinomedica. I work still in Holland for people who have had cancer, how to recover. And I'm here to work on the Karuna Project together with Bel. So this is a long introduction, but I think it's good to have some backgrounds why I'm standing here. Today we prepared, Bel and me, this beautiful afternoon, so we are very happy to do it a little bit in lecture style, but later on also a little bit active style, okay? And you will introduce yourself later on, Bel, but I'm very grateful we do together. No, we do, you can do later, but thank you. Very well, so let's get started. What is the Karuna Project about? In which process we are? I'm sorry that I did not bring the pointer, so I have to do a little bit like this. And maybe in this moment it's better to just sit. Because if you put it short, why we start this Karuna Project, it is learn about death and dying in a secure place. And of course, it's for the care receiver, but it's also for the caregiver. This is also my experience of these years, that the caregiver is in a different process, but you come together in process. So the other why, for who are the people who can make use of this project in future time, because we have to develop bit by bit. We want to help people, no, from the center, open for people for any religious background or cultural background. So here, sure, it's a Buddhist center, but we can also receive other people. I'm reluctant to talk about patients because as we are here, we are caregivers, and I will explain later on a little bit more about the medical part. It will be for the people who are very sick, of course, or in the dying process, and their families, so the loved ones, to prepare the mind in a peaceful way for the dying process, improving the quality of life, and reduce as much as possible their suffering. To create inner growth and healing in a moment of great challenge with a spiritual, within a spiritual place, using spiritual methods, and within a pure environment. So this is what we can offer. It's quite something, no? Later on we talk some more about the details. I'm still in introducing the project, okay? So it's for people with an incurable disease. And with a life expectancy, what we say, less than 1 year, doesn't mean that they stay here 1 year, but it is the moment that the situation is so in a severe situation. From that moment on, also in palliative care, we say, okay, we have to be more proactive to think ahead what can come. So this is why we say more or less 1 year. Later on, I will explain some more about this detail of 1 year. For people who have a need, either psychological, spiritual, physical, during their last lifetime, and that they have difficulties to get this type of help at home, or they really prefer to have this based on spiritual goals. And what I was saying, it's not only that we think often for the people who are dying, but it's also for the people who are around it. Because they, in a way, go through the same intense process, but seen from a different angle. But not, let's say, they need also a lot of help, but in a different way. And there is more, and I'll talk later on about it, about this, who are involved in this project. And what is the aim? Also, your answer will be answered here. The aim in the future time is that we have either 2 to 4 rooms here in the center. And this, what we are doing now, is that we just share some gross first outlines. We are working on the back, let's say, back office, to write a whole schedule how to make this project possible. But we have, let's say, some first thoughts and outlines, and this is what I will share also today. It's good to know that it's not super fixed. So if people say, oh, but you talked about it in the presentation, this and this. Yes, it is good to have some perspectives, but as we all know, things change. And the aim is, of course, that we want to create this opportunity for people in the palliative care to give them the support, what they need. And you have, let's say, now in Italy, you have people can die at home, or either people can die at the hospital or die at hospice. For some people, it's very difficult to stay at home and go through the dying process. So the idea could be that we have here in Albagnano a kind of home hospitalization in Albagnano. So it's a kind of home. It is covered by the ASL for the people who live in Italy. For the European people, because we have also in the center here people from Europe, we are working on what the possibilities are for them also to have a possibility to be taken care of. And there's even also people from abroad. I know some people from America are also joining on the streaming. Welcome. They also expressed their interest even to see if they want to come here as Sangha members if they are in this dying process. But we have to figure out how everything works based on the rules, because in the legal construction, this logic. So just to make it a little bit more visual, I like visual things. So I thought I will make some visual aspects, what we are now working on. So in the center are the Karuna participants, also the care receivers, you could say, and their family. And surrounded are people to be of help. Of course, La Michel Rinpoche and the vulnerables, but also interreligious when it's needed, when people are asking for example, a priest or other backgrounds, to give the spiritual support. And I think this, if you ask about what is lacking, this is very important to have this knowledge, this part of sight. Then there is a group of Karuna volunteers, and as we organize today this meeting, some of you are also already part of an app group that we created, Karuna app group, of people who already showed their interest. And we had a first meeting half year ago with the first people who said they want to be participating. And with this group, slowly, we hope that it will increase in amount of people, and to see, and I will talk later on about it, how everyone can be of help and be part of it. So the Karuna volunteers, I will give later on a little bit more explanation about it. And sure, there's also a group needed in, let's say, in the back office, who's thinking about the whole outline. Of course, La Michelle is helping, and how the whole structure of the center is, and I look to Aldo and to Carlotta, because how the center functions is very essential, what we can create here, of course. And then we have Bel, me, talking and thinking, me from more the somatic point of view, Bel from the psychological point of view. And then we have also Marijke and Roberto here. Thank you very much also for the help already you gave to think how we can start to communicate and make the connections with the hospice and the people here around, making legal aspects, all these kinds of things we still need to work on. But as we were spreading the word, we want to start with this Karuna project. What is happening, and I'm very happy, is that people hear about it and say, oh, this inspires me. I want to be of help, or I want to share my experience, or have other personal experience. And I've seen the importance of this part of taking care, being taken care of, that you can take care of. So whatever is the background, we are very happy if more people can tend to be of help. And all this is part of the Karuna volunteers. Then, what I was saying, just to give a little bit more outline, who are the possible Karuna volunteers? What we are thinking of is that we have a group of people that can be trained either in basic palliative care training, and some people who are already inside of medical field and can have more profound palliative care training. Then, of course, we have people who are willing to help in the back office, in the sense of mailing and contact with patients or with the care receivers, the family. We have for the social services, so many things that will need to be done. There are, of course, also people from the Sangha here, from Albagnano, who are interested, but not in that sense that they can do the whole training, but they say, oh, if there's someone here and need a help or need a ride with a wheelchair, I want to be of help in whichever way, also that will be possible, no, to create. And of course, not to forget that the family member, we also really want to integrate in this project, so that they are aside of the person, because the risk can be that people say, oh, it's so kind, people are taking care of me, so I will just lay down and you give the help, no? And this is something that we talk a little bit more later on also. We really want to see that it's a mutual process of giving and receiving from the caregiver and the care receiver. So it's a process that generates really this compassion in action from both sides. So this is, I think, very important. Then, just to have some more idea about who can be the volunteers, in a different way, written like this, can be people from Albagnano, can be people from the local region, social workers are needed, therapists, physiotherapists, nurses, psychologists, doctors, whoever likes, more than welcome. Then what we intend to do is that there is a palliative care team active here in the area, and it gives support to people who are dying. It's a mobile team, and inside of these rules of Italy, when people are dying at home or in Albagnano home, when they have a family doctor, registered with a family doctor, they can receive this type of help. So we really like to exchange us with the palliative care team and to see what are the possibilities for them to do in fact, the whole medical needs for the patients. So even though I'm specialized as a palliative care giver, I did all this type of medical help by myself. Here in this project, I will be the coordinator, and the palliative care team will do the medical help. Me and Bel, as a psychologist, there are people, and also in future time when we train people more in palliative care, more and more we have more medical experts and can see how we can extend this help also by ourselves. But in the beginning, we have to be honest that to create palliative care is a day and night job, 24 hours, can be either a few days, can be sometimes weeks or even months. So you cannot rely on only one person or one nurse, so you need a whole team. So it is really something that Lamagantian, he had a quite big wish, let's say, a huge perspective, but he really believed in it. So I trust him, and by sitting also here together and doing this through the streaming, and for I hope that we can really do this together and we find our ways. So besides the palliative care team, of course, we have to make use of the connection with the hospital care if that is needed, and the hospice care, because some people who come here and are in the dying process, and that we see that the physical needs that they have cannot be related to the help that we can give here. They have to go then to hospice care, either, for example, in Verbania or to Novara or another place. And of course, we like to continue with the Karuna care at that place. So it does not mean that it stops completely in the taking care, but the medical part, then we have to really make a switch to another place. So this is also important for people who think, oh, that's nice, I am dying, I go to Albagnano and they will take care of me. This is not what is palliative care about. Palliative care is really taking care, and that means that also in some cases we have to say the care is damaging in this way that what we have in the possibilities seen from Albagnano, and we need to have more support. So hospice and hospital are also really into account to create this project of Karuna. So what is the dream, let's say, the wish that this whole field, that we can find ways to work together as like a total a group in which we are putting the hands together, all the support together, and that we make a very nice, beautiful, tiny drop of the earth in a pure environment left there. I like this one. In one drop is expressed the whole world. That within this drop of Albagnano, Verbania, that we can create this type of teamwork, of palliative care, and also let's say that it can be also an inspiring place for how we can give palliative care in a larger extent. So, and I spoke about this mutual taking care. If we can really work together, it can really create a beautiful field. And I had the luck to be recently in America to meet also His Holy Sostieni Rinpoche. And he was expressing a beautiful line, a phrase that he said, we were there with a group of 35 people. So he said to us, you are here with 35 Italian people. 35 people can make a lot of mess. Everyone start to laugh, no? Yes, 35 people together, they can create a lot of mess, like whatever. But he said also 35 people can also, if they work together, can do beautiful things, can bring beautiful things, and I think it will be a challenge. But if we can see how we can work together, then it's possible. So this is the starting point of the Karuna Project, what I want to talk about. Then a small introduction about palliative care, because the phrase is often mentioned, but palliative care, actually, what is it? I think it's good to honor first the one who initiated the palliative, re-initiated, could you say, the palliative care in Europe. And this is Cicely Saunders. And it's a beautiful story. Does someone know her, Cicely Saunders? See someone nodding, yeah. Cicely Saunders, she was incredible. She grew up in the middle of the war, and she was studying, I think, philosophy and economy. And then, while the war was going on, she thought I could be of better help as a nurse. So she transformed her work into a nursery, and she was very touched also with people who were dying. But she also saw, as a nurse, I cannot really make a difference, because the doctors, they were all the time, let's say, the supervisor, and even at that time as a woman, she did not have anything to say. So he thought, at the age of 40, maybe better I become a doctor. So she turned to become a doctor, and then she was taking care in a really care way. The microphone work, yeah. Christian background, and then there was one man, and he was so touched by her way of taking care, and she was holding hands. She was sitting next to the bed. She was talking with them, and then he said, "This is what is lacking. This is what we need. I give you £500, and please start your own clinic." And from that point on, she started to build the first hospice. And she was, from this only lady, she was the inspiring point to transform the whole palliative care in Europe. So it's quite something. Then we can ask the question: when does someone get into palliative? Please.
Sorry, one question is, why palliative? What does the meaning?
Yes, thank you. Because yes. I did, but you're following very well, because when it really starts to pop up, but what is it? That's what I would like to. That's very wonderful. So what is it? When we talk about palliative care, it's for the person who heard the diagnosis. Okay, we cannot help you anymore. Either sooner or later you are going to die out of this disease. So this is, let's say, a kind of vast definition. A more complete definition is this one. Palliative care is an approach that improves the quality of life of patients and families facing the problems associated with life-threatening illnesses through the prevention and relief of suffering by means of early identification and impeccable assessment and treatment of pain and other problems seen from the physical, psychological and spiritual part. So this is the definition of palliative care that we use in Europe. And it's a very vast and at the same time very compact definition. And sure, when we do the palliative care training, we will go in all these aspects one by one. But just today, to give you a short overview, I don't want to go in too much detail for now. But just to make it clear that some people talk about palliative care, some people say also end-of-life care. It's not completely easy to express what is the difference between palliative care and end-of-life care, and some people also use the word terminal care. No? Is this, you hear this terminal care? Yeah. So end-of-life care, terminal care, palliative care. So I like this overview, in which it's, I think, quite clearly depicted what is palliative care about. So palliative care, what I explained, is from the moment people hear the diagnosis, okay, I cannot be cured, and I don't know how long still to live, then we talk about palliative care. And you could say from left up, introduction to palliative care approach will be then, and it's living with life-limiting illnesses and also the prognosis. Often they say, okay, we can treat the symptoms, we can improve the quality of life, but we cannot extend anymore your life. So also, if we talk about cancer, often they say, for example, we have palliative chemotherapy, or that we say, okay, we know it cannot cure you, but we can extend the time of living. So this is all palliative care. Then the end-of-life care, you could say, could be the moment when we talk about the people have to live, that they have more or less an expectancy to live for one more year. No, you could say, okay, this is end-of-life care. To really figure out if it is exactly 1 year to live is not easy. I will explain a little bit later on how to do this. And then you have the last phase of life that can be sometimes just a few minutes, can be a few days, few weeks, few months. And what it makes difficult in palliative care is that sometimes we think, okay, this person will die very, very soon. And then suddenly things happens and we have to reorganize. I think this is one of the things with palliative care, is really we need to learn to become very, very flexible, that things can change very quickly in one way or in another way. Another way to put this definition is shown by this, palliative care. And what you could see in the definition of palliative care, we speak clearly about different areas of somatic care, psychosocial care, and spiritual care. And so I thought also to make it a little bit more interactive today. As you can see, I made these lines, blue, red, yellow, and green, to make 3 groups. One group that's I make 4 groups: blue, red, yellow, green. So I give you a number. Blue is 1, red is 2, yellow is 3, green is number 4. So later on I will point out 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Then I will ask you to make one small group, and then you talk just together about this aspect of what you think about palliative care in relation to the somatic. What is all going on in the palliative care about needs seen from somatic point of view? Then the other group will talk with each other. What are psychological needs? What type of needs can you imagine that could be of help in the psychological part? Then the other group will do it from the social point of view, and the last group will do it from the spiritual point of view. And I would like to give you some notes I will give to everyone. And then my question is, each group, you make a couple of 2 within this topic. So in the physical group, you make just a couple with 2, and you talk about it, and you just write some questions or some suggestions that pop up based on your conversation. And these you can write down, and we put later on this whiteboard, okay? So just to make it a little bit interactive. So now I'm going to give the numbers. And for the streaming, Carminia, I think for this moment it would be best to make a break. And then I will put on my microphone when we start again. Also for you, Marie-Christina, thank you very much for the translation. And within, I think, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, we come back and then we continue, okay? Perfect. So I like, so I like to let's have a look. Yes. So I like to invite everyone to go to its place again. Oh, yeah, I'm on the mic. Sorry. A quick compliment. The mic is on. All right, thank you all very much. Carminia, are we again online? And Marie-Christina, let's have a look. This is quite a challenge also for the back office who's supporting so helpfully. Let's have a look. Yes, Carminia is there. And Marie-Christina is also in. Is correct? You can hear Marie-Christina on the translation? Yes. All right. Yes. Thank you. All right. So I'll just put it here because then also the people from home can see. Some people put a lot very condensed on one paper. Some people put just one line in it. Later on, at the second part, after Bel her lecture, we have again a moment to exchange. I'm going to have a look what all is written here, but I'm very curious. What was your experience to do in this way, to talk together about such subject with just actually very basic information? I just gave small information, but to sit together and just to start talking about one subject and also to sit so close to each other that you hear the other people speaking and you have to really be focused on what the other is telling to you. How was the first exercise? Sitting together, just listening to the other without being disturbed by others. Was it possible? Yes. And you do. Carlotte, you are very much trained. But for many people in the beginning, this is really, really something, no? To really stay focused, even though this is an exercise that we also use in deep listening. And it's a way that even though there's a lot of chaos around, still you can be very focused, very, very precise listening to what is happening. I think in a dying process, the most important part with patients is that you sit and that you just ask, how do you feel? What are your needs? No? What is a need for on the social level? What is a need on the physical level? Do you have spiritual needs? So it's just an easy question, and many things can come out. Okay. Later on, I will because it's in Italian and in English. Italian still I need some help. So we come back to this one. But thank you very much for the efforts to put in it to do in this way. Just to go a little bit into this subject of spirituality, because there is already a lot of palliative care and also in the hospice care. But if we look from these 4 dimensions, the somatic, the social, the psychological, and the spiritual part, the spiritual part, I think, can be of so much more use in this whole process, in a dying process. And when Lama Ganshin also was asking to me what is lacking and what we can offer here as a center seen also from the Karuna Project, this spiritual part that is often in the center of what is our deepest purpose, that has its effect on the decisions and the choices we have made in our life, on which we made our choices to make work choices, how we deal with social difficulties, who are our friends or not our friends, and also how we look at our somatic experiences, no? And what is important, for example, if we have a cancer patient, and the cancer patient is a violist, and she gets the option for one experimental chemotherapy, but they know that the nerve of the fingers, the fingertips, will be damaged. And if you look that for her, playing a violin is such of vital importance, is for her the quality of life, then you can, even this type of decisions from whether not to take or do take another chemotherapy with the possibility that you lose this type of sensation and you cannot do anymore the violin playing, and it's so essential for someone's life, it can make very strong decisions to make, that you decide, okay, for me it's better to focus on a quality of life, to continue, for example, with playing the violin instead of having an extra chemotherapy. Or seeing from Dharma point of view, for example, that people are facing pain, and for some people it's important to have a clear mind in the dying process. What to do? If people are suffering a lot out of pain, do you give morphine? Because that can help to reduce the pain, but it makes maybe distortion of the mind. And for some people it's so important to have a clear mind that dealing with pain, and we call this total pain, are there maybe possibilities that you can use other type of painkillers, other type of therapies, like music therapy, for example, is an optional one. Aromatherapy is another optional one. We know from studies that it reduces pain level, especially the experience of pain. These are all type of questions that can come into part when we talk about palliative care. So for some people it's important that the pain is reduced very strongly and that they don't feel the pain. Other people say, okay, I accept a type of pain, but I have tools to deal with the pain, and I add other ingredients to overcome this pain. But in that sense, I can also do my practice and prepare my mind for the dying process. So it is, yes, please.
Can I speak about an experience I had?
Please. Maybe you want to come here and say in the microphone, so the people from home can also hear. No problem.
About this control of pain or not.
Yes, I try to figure out. I managed to. Please, because when we're here, then you're in the. So please.
In this
yes,
way.
And
Okay.
You want to share an experience? Yeah.
Yes, because I knew many situations in hospice in Italy, and one time close to Torino, I was in an hospice and in a meeting with the staff, we spoke about a great problem about this, because the philosophy of hospice is you do all you can to follow the need of the person, not my need, the need of the doctor, but the need of the person sick. And there was a nun, and this nun had a terrible pain for cancer, and she wanted to scream in a very strong way, night and day, because scream night and day, because in this way she thought she offered this pain to Christ. She was free to think in this way, but there were many other patients there that couldn't sleep, and then was very terrible to feel this so loud scream of pain. And so the discussion was what we do now, and no one found the answer. I had an answer inside myself. I can say something. That is true that the person is, we have to follow what the person desires. But it's true also that there is not, if it's one person, okay, but if are 20 persons and 19 are not comfortable with this situation, I thought we send the nun at home, and we go home to her home to take care of her but they didn't do that. They left in that way. And so these things happens in a environment of care.
Yes. Thank you very much for sharing this experience. Just later on, I will also share bits about the difficulties, and also that you have to take into account more than only the person who is dying, but the whole environment. So if you can acknowledge some needs of the person who is dying, but it is disturbing other people in this process who are also dying, what to do? And we have had in my hospice also many discussions like this, or in the hospital in which I was working, and it is really a challenge to find for each situation a solution. But thank you for mentioning, and also beautiful that in a way. What you're saying is that you really try to follow the needs of the person, but it's not that need makes that everything is possible, because you have to accept also the boundaries. Okay, due to time, I think we go just a little bit further. If we talk about spirituality, in Europe is a very huge development going on after this lady, Cicely Saunders. She started this movement of palliative care. There is a whole European Association of Palliative Care created, and they have a specific board on spiritual care within palliative care. And they use this definition of spirituality, and it is a definition in which every religion actually is integrated. So this is a definition that is often used when we talk about spirituality in palliative care. Of course, let's say seen from Dharma point of view, from Buddhist point of view, we have for sure also our own definition, but it's good to also think in a broader way that for some people, for example, an expression of spirituality is being in nature, being in balance, or being with the dear ones, or having a purpose that they can live and live life in a peaceful way, and that is their purpose of life, their purpose of spirituality. So sometimes people think that spirituality must be something very, well, let's say, far away, outstanding, but it's actually also very, very simple, close to the heart, close to basic needs. So I think this part is also important to mention. In this European Association of Palliative Care and this, for the Spiritual Board, they have this distinction to talk about spirituality. I'm not going now into detail due to time, but when we start the palliative care training for the people who like to start to join, we will go more in detail about these subjects. But just shortly to touch, also maybe some questions that popped up in the group who talked about spirituality. Sorry, I try to... Ah, it's my earring. Thanks. Perfect. So in relation to existential challenges, some people say, okay, there are questions and issues such as identity, the meaning of life. What about suffering, despair? Some people talk about guilt, no? If you talk about spirituality. Shame, reconciliation, forgiveness, freedom, responsibility, hope, love, and joy. So you can go on and on in this, only in this specific domain of spirituality to work it through. What matters for a person? Who is the family and who the people feel like are their family? And this is also quite a different perspective and very important perspective, because maybe the ones who are the family are not the ones that the person wants to have close to him or her in the process of dying. Maybe it's a friend or a spiritual master. Or so all these things need to be taken into account. And also other religious considerations will play a role. So there's a lot to do to work this through, but I just wanted to give you a first small taste about this subject of somatic, social, psychological, and spiritual dimensions in palliative care. I look at the time master because I think I still have 10 minutes left. It's on my 6 minutes left. 6 minutes. So 6 minutes left. It's 15:24. So how to organize and give good palliative care? This is the question, no? And that also what we will face here in Albagnano. I will just say something short about it, but we go, of course, in more detail to it. When you see this picture up, it's mentioned curative care and palliative care. In the past, people were thinking, okay, we have the part of cure. If we cannot cure, people start to be, let's say, they have to figure it out by themselves, palliative care. Nowadays, and this is already a definition that is used since 2006, we say curative care and palliative care, it's a really difficult integration of things that what seems palliative care, especially also with, for example, chemotherapies that we have for specific cancers, sometimes suddenly people get stable for some period. So they were in a kind of delicate palliative care and suddenly they are in a stable palliative care for a long time. So this is a whole process to get a whole field to get into. Also, the aftercare was in the past not taken into consideration that much. So also for the family members who stay, how they deal with death after losing a dear one. So this is something that we will go through. Sure, we will face a lot of difficulties in palliative care, and I thank you for mentioning this specific case that you had in hospice. But just to sum up some difficulties that are expressed in palliative care, one thing, just talking about death is already for many people very unusual. Also, Bel will say something about this. Taking this topic of death for some people is really creates so much fear. Also, when I started to get into this field, my first thought when Lama Garchen said 1,000 more to come was no way. I don't want to go in that direction. Please give me a suggestion for something else in healthcare, but not in regards to death. I'm very happy afterwards that he mentioned to me to develop it, but I had to overcome a lot of fears also inside of myself. So as a caregiver, it's also a beautiful process that we can learn from as we're taking care also of the one who are dying. This outline, I will not go now into detail, but in the palliative care groups that we're going to start, we will go through them each one step by step, okay? Due to time, I just will skip and go to the last part about working together, because I think as we are here now and we are exchanging about this subject, it will be really a beautiful moment that we see this as a starting point for people who are already into the Karuna group and for people who are interested to join, that we slowly start more and more this kind of exchange. And Bel and me, we are working on the whole frame, and as we have to respect time, but also what comes up in both of our lives, Bel will share also about that in her talk. We have to see when it's the exact frequency of it. But anyhow, the steps are made, and I hope we can really create a team in this sense, in this whole group. And I thought I put it in the colors of the NgalSo self-healing. So we have a group of people, let's say, that's more in the local social aspects who want to participate, people who want to participate more from the somatic aspects, have already background in medical care from nurses' point of view and also from the doctor point of view. So I hope we can create a beautiful painting together of all these different aspects of different colors. And if you like, here are the numbers for the Karuna group to join. You can send either one message to me or to Bel, and then we add you to the group. But the most important part is I think we can make a beautiful picture together. So based on this, I like to finish, and thank you for the attention. We have a half-hour break now, but we also respect the time. So I want to ask you, please, 5 to 4, please come back so we can start on time at 4 for the lecture of Bel. All right.